So today on the podcast, we have Paolo Cordovado. He's a father, senior building operator, a BOMI SMA, and the 2023 winner of the BOMA Toronto IAOE Emerging Leader Award. Paolo, welcome to the podcast.
Nice to meet you, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Love the intro there.
Thank you.
Really summed it all up real quick.
Yeah. No, it's a pleasure to have you on. So today on the podcast, we just want to learn, a little about you, your story, what you see in the industry, all about Paolo.
That's
so
it.
Take it away.
To start, oh wow, we're going back now. Back in my high school summers, I was part of a team, a summer student team that was in and around commercial office space, doing some of the housekeeping tasks that the building operators didn't have time for. Okay. That was kind of the start, I say, because I was in those diesel generator rooms, air handling rooms, just kind of jaw on the floor. Having a father who's been in the industry for 30, 40 plus years was a great resource, because I get home from a day at work there painting sprinkler pipes and be like, man, I saw this and this and this. And he's like, yep. Well, that was an air handling unit. That wasn't just a duct, buddy. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. All right. So, slowly made my way up from there. Full-time mobile operator with AY. Brief stint at Trio Vest for a bit, and then back at AY since.
Fantastic. So how you like working at AY?
It's great. People, culture. It's really more of a family than a company. Yeah. So it's been great for me in my career growth. Had a lot of resources in terms of upper management.
I was reading your newsletter just before this, and I saw early in your career you had went through operations improvements alone, you would save 1.4 million kilowatt hours in energy in 14 months, was it?
Yes.
$80,000 in savings with no energy upgrades, yes. No retrofits, nothing.
Nothing.
Tell me about that.
And that, to be honest, that one's kind of like I put it in the top three now. At the time, that was definitely my best achievement. Working with my controls technician, we kind of fine-tune the programming on the systems. When I say systems, I mean everything in the building. I had gauges on my chilled water line that were all blown, pipes that were rattling. I kind of asked questions as to, why this stuff was like that, and it was like that from the start. So that led me to dive in to those systems, replace gauges as a good start, and then start fine-tuning it. Change the chiller programming there to, soften the load on startup. Scaled back some of the air handling units and compartment units, their scheduling when they were on and off, set point changes, really dove into the fifth light lighting system. Okay. That one was very interesting to learn. Wasn't very user-friendly, but working with the programmer, I was able to initiate some daylight harvesting, reprogrammed all the lighting, so max was really 80%, not 100. So just a whole bunch of little tweaks. I think I still have my notepad.
No way. I would love to see that.
At my house with all the chicken scratches over the course of the 14 months, you know. So, that was what really helped me fine-tune that building and also understand how each system can affect another system. That's incredible. That was a good time.
That's an incredible achievement. That was your first year, or that was?
That was, I was probably about 4 or 5 years in to the industry. I had recently just finished my BES. Right. So it was kind of coming off that. I really was eager to show and prove that I kind of knew what I was talking about and what I was doing on site. So we went through a couple manager changes through that too. So just trying to make sure everybody knew what I was doing. Then got the calls at the end of the year like, where did 80,000 come from? This has got to be an error. And I'm like, I sent you emails on those quarterly calls. I was telling you I made these changes. I didn't have numbers for you at the time, but come the end of the, 14 months, the end of the year there, it's quite a big number.
That's absolutely incredible, man.
It was a fun time, man. Stressful, but fun. Yeah.
No, serious. That's definitely. First major career milestone in terms of improvements they're building, things like that.
Definitely. And it's probably the one I will put at number one. Winning the awards is great, but even though the individual award is an individual award, that's for the operators. It's just to shine a little bit of light on all of us, boots on the ground, and really just elevate the awareness.
So tell me about the BOMA award. I see you were the first one to win that award. Is that correct? Or?
First senior building operator to win an individual award.
Right.
Operators have been, part of teams and won other awards with BOMA Toronto over the course of the 25 years, but we had to do a little bit of digging to find that out. But that was it's great to be the first. Just kind of, open the door for the rest of the operators to, apply for it. It's really as simple as filling out a link online and getting a couple people in your company to write a recommendation, right? So I'm grateful to the upper management that wrote mine, and obviously it was good enough to take home the win, right? So, and big thanks to BOMA Toronto for, supporting me.
That's incredible. You're essentially paving the way for all the building operators out there, right? You're giving them a voice, a platform.
Yeah, trying to. Just, it might be a gravel road right now. We're just figuring out how to put the asphalt down, but slowly, knocking down some walls and doors and, show them that we're here.
So speaking of building operators, I know you started the building operators group on LinkedIn, right? It's the only building operators group I know of. And what I've seen you do there is incredible. You have, I want to say it's over 800 members now. You have a newsletter built on top of that where you're sharing constant, advice, feedback, just day-to-day points for building operators, right? You've given building operators essentially a sense of community and a platform to voice and just, network, meet other people. You've essentially given them a great community there. Tell me more about that.
I really just wanted a space for operators to talk on their day-to-day tasks. Raising the awareness on the importance of the role of building operators was like one of the goals. But really just building operators are the ones that love a juicy operations chat. So, giving them that platform to post, to share, to comment. We're all running buildings at the end of the day. So the problem that someone saw might be the problem I'm dealing with today. Creating that platform, that first person posts the problem with a solution, maybe that person that's having a rough day going through that same problem can implement that and get it back up and running quick, right? So that's the overall goal of, creating that for me. So it's been a great success so far. The newsletter, I did that as more of a starting piece to a conversation. I've never said that my way is the right way. My way is the only way to do things. I know a lot of building operators that are more technical than me. I know a lot of operators that are smarter on the PM side than me. Pretty much just my opinion on that subject, and hopefully, leave it open enough for comments and conversations, because I find you learn a lot more from a conversation than a webinar or something like that. So,
So you learn by doing it, kind of trial and error, and meeting the person who's done it before, right?
Exactly, right? Just a little bit, and then kind of see what works, tweak it. I've started asking them what they want to see rather than kind of me just pushing it out on my own. At the end of the day, yes, I'm doing the work, but it's for the industry. So, try and get their involvement. And
how do you see your role as sort of a leader influencing the building operations space? You're clearly taking an upfront approach. You're young. You're right there in your career. You're at the forefront, right? How do you see yourself emerging as a leader and growing with the industry, essentially?
It's been tough for me. I don't like taking praise or anything like that. I'm a humble kind of guy. So, even being called the leader, okay, it kind of fits, I really am trying to, show and prove. So it's not like I have a whole bunch of skills that no one else has, and I'm safeguarding some secrets here. So in terms of the leadership, just doing what I think is right, and so far it's worked. It's been a little bit challenging to kind of, be that leader, quote unquote, and just kind of feel like all the eyes are on you at all times. You're double and triple checking to make sure you spelled everything right. I remember early on I released a poll and spelt building wrong. Out of all words, building was spelt wrong, and you can't go back and change the poll. People had voted on it, so I'm like, okay, double, triple check. I don't want to get called out by my dad again for a spelling error.
Oh yeah, I bet he gave it to you for that one.
Oh, he gave it to me, man. It was like 10 minutes after it was posted. He's like, dude, out of all words, come on, man. I'm like,
that's the core word,
That's it. I was just trying to, make it go under the radar, I guess. But yeah.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about the life of a building operator. What's your day-to-day like? Like, I know in my job, we deal with building operators day-to-day, right? We know them, we see them, but we see them for maybe an hour, a couple hours in the day, right? Tell me about what that whole day-to-day life is like.
The day-to-day. No 2 days are the same.
Oh, yeah.
You will never, I at least have not had it in my, 13, 15 years in the industry. I've not had 2 days that are identical. I've had days that are similar, but problems are different. Today was lights and toilets. Tomorrow will be HVAC and you name it. It's great because it keeps you on your toes. Yeah. You can sit down and write out how you want to do your day. PM tasks, inspections, emails, tenant requests. Wait till those tenants come in. Yeah. And then see how much you actually get done in the day. My hit list is constantly changing, but creating that hit list in the start is a good way to kind of fill up those in between times. But absolutely. 99% of the time it's usually busy, and all aspects kind of, you never know, never a dull moment here in building operations.
So tell me about you mentioned you plan your day ahead of time, right? Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about how do you be the best building operator you can be? You mentioned your task list. You mentioned, how do you keep on top of it all?
Time management. Right. It's one of those things that, you think it's so easy. You just book a couple meetings and, you schedule time for this. And in this job and in this role, it's constantly changing. So, to try and plan your day, it's a great start. It might not always end that way. You might not get through that to-do list, but time management. So, I took a few free learning courses on that, just trying to find some tips and tricks. The urgency of the request is also, something to factor into it. Understanding what's an emergency and what can wait till tomorrow is a good start. So, yeah.
We'll get a little bit personal here. Tell me about, your personal life. I know you're a father of 2 boys. How do you manage your personal life and being a building operator? Those are both 2 crazy lives, right? How do you manage it all?
To be honest with you, it's hard. It's definitely hard. Leaving my wife at home with the kids, both of them. Yeah. I know what she's going through because, there's been times where I've been there solo with the 2 kids. So, if I'm allowed, if time is there, leaving a touch early, getting into work early, leaving a touch early to, make sure I'm home on those non-daycare days. Really just, I spend about an hour in the mornings cleaning the dishes, taking out the garbage, making sure the house is somewhat clean. So that way my wife can kind of just fill up the sink with the dishes and, take a little bit of burden off of her as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've been using at home to, they say happy wife, happy life.
Absolutely.
Going above and beyond at home to try and make sure she doesn't have to do a whole lot has been a success on that end. Balancing the work life, it's always tough. Someone, I can't remember the name, I would really love to. Someone said it's not a work-life balance, it's a work-life swing.
Right.
And that one really hit home for me. Trying to grow my career, I want to say yes to everything. I want to be a part of everything. I want to do the most, but ultimately at the end of the day, family's number one. Yeah. So keeping them in mind, going to events, but, leaving when the networking starts to make sure I'm there for bedtime for my kids. That's kind of been working for me so far.
Yeah.
Missed a few bedtimes and it's like a knife in the heart. Bedtime is like, it's my time too. I put them down. So that's my special time with them that I won't get back. So, keeping that in mind while I'm trying to grow the career has been interesting.
Yeah. You have 2 young boys, right? You're essentially newly a father. How has being a father changed your perspective on your career, your life, and even your leadership style?
Yeah, I actually have it on my resume under leadership.
Right.
The first line item is father. Yeah. It is my pride and joy. So just trying to keep them up at the top, but the patience.
Right.
Patience, my son just started talking about a year ago. So, building up that patience, learning that, trying to teach him the right way to do things, You can take some of those skills and bring it back to the workplace. Recently stopped smoking, so that patience one will come into effect big time. Sorry to anybody that I've talked to recently, might have been snappy with, so just kind of using those to, transfer them into the workplace. Yeah. It's been fun.
So patience definitely goes a long way when you got a crazy day, right?
Long way. And it's amazing how easily your problems in your work day are wiped away when you see your kids.
Yeah.
That one's, as soon as I park that car, it's kind of work is done. It's home time, right? So change and get on the hands and knees and start playing.
I'm sure that's a great way to end your day, right?
Yeah. It's just fantastic for the broken knees from all the years of sports, just amazing. But yeah, wouldn't change it for the world.
What sports did you play?
Played soccer and hockey growing up.
Okay.
Touched into some basketball here and there, but yeah.
I'm sure that helps as well, right?
Yeah, that was.
Did you ever get back out or?
We were I played pretty high level soccer. Was captain at Sheridan College there for 4 years that I was there. That was great in terms of leadership as well.
Yeah.
Just touching on that, but yeah, I played League One for a bit, and then kind of COVID hit, and that was kind of the end of my serious playing days.
Yeah.
Moved a little bit away from my friends too, so driving an hour to a soccer game and an hour back wasn't really something I was willing to do.
Yeah.
Just some pickup games to keep me active now and then is all I do.
So tell me, I want to know about your industry insights, future outlooks. What's the biggest changes you see, biggest changes you anticipate in the building operations space? What do you see happening over the next few years?
I mean, the trends are already pretty forefront. Like ESG and net zero is kind of what everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah.
I think it's a great opportunity for building operators to show and prove what they know and what they know about their building. In terms of these ESG and decarbonization net zero plans, you can blanket statement some items, but I truly believe that every building needs its own unique plan to reach net zero. That's going to focus those ESG teams and net zero teams to speak to the building operators a lot more, be on site a lot more, dive into the systems that you currently have on site. Can we get some efficiency out of this unit running at different rate now, save some money, and afford that capital project a little bit sooner than we anticipated, So you can already kind of see the shift happening there, which is fantastic for building operators. Mm-hmm. I feel like we had the stigma of being the guys with the keys that would open the doors for leasing. So this will be our time to kind of show that we're a lot more than that.
Absolutely.
And I just think the building operators that know their systems and their building inside and out will really excel, and the praise will slowly come their way for sure.
Absolutely. I think they deserve it. You could always tell an experienced building operator, like my side, I'm on the contractor side, right? So we go into buildings every day, we're at a different building. You can always tell when somebody has been there a long time and has that sort of, that sort of underlying drive, because they, there's the guys that open the door, but then there's also the guys that they know everything about that building, right? They know how it lives and breathes. They know all the ins and outs. Yeah, you can always tell, right?
No, it's people always kind of laugh when I'm, guiding them through the building, through multiple sets of doors and lockbox here. And when you see this sign, turn left, and then this one, you turn right, and then turn around. It's right behind you. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. I've kind of being at multiple properties, I wish my arms could stretch and I could be at multiple places at once, but I can't. So, really understanding just how to walk someone around the building, if you can do that on the phone, that's a great start, if you can rhyme off what, hurts and what set points this should be at and all of that, it just, it's just weight in gold, right? Yeah. So, it's great to see.
Sort of bridging off of that, what advice do you have for new building operators coming into this space? Either somebody who's, set their mind on building operations, maybe they're looking at going to school, maybe they're looking at, getting their first job in building operations, right? Yeah. How, sort of pave the path. How can they be the best building operator they can be?
It's ask questions. If you don't know something, it's a lot easier to ask a question than try and use your gut and create a big problem. Mm-hmm. I've been a firm believer in asking questions. Raise your hand. Might not fall under your job description, might not be a role that you're supposed to be doing or a job you're supposed to be doing, task, but, help out, raise your hand, ask for more roles and responsibilities. That's seemed to have worked for me. Yeah. In terms of the industry, it looks like the biggest industry out there, but it's probably smaller than your family. Mm-hmm. People jump from company to company. If they're not jumping company, they know someone that works at that company or has worked with them in the past. So just, keeping that in the back of your mind, because the person you're working with today side by side could be your boss tomorrow. So, just always bringing your A game every day is kind of, what will help you excel. In terms of career path, I know people that have started out as day porters that are now VPs of operations. I know building operators that are GMs and PMs, right? So once you're in, you can kind of find what you like, dive into that, try and get involved from a very unofficial level. Yeah. Get your basis on that topic, whatever it is, ESG, leasing, asset management, the list goes on. There's multiple of avenues, different lanes you can go. There's a lot here that will keep people happy. You just got to find what that is for you, right? So, yeah.
Great. So you mentioned there's so many different paths you can take, right? And building operations is sort of, a gateway to all those paths. Where do you see your career going? What's your goals for your career? What do you strive for? Like, what keeps you going at the rate you're going?
Keeping me on my toes.
All right.
I love a new challenge. I'm thankful to work at a company that has given me a lot of challenges and tasks that, might not be mine, but they know I'm not going to say no. I'm always there to help. Whether it's being a part of the global engineering task force that's making standard operating procedures for Avis and Young globally. Being part of the social committee, trying to wrap up some social events, training other operators and team members on our management system, our work order management system. So just kind of, I love a new challenge, and that's what really keeps the fire burning. In terms of career goals, I mean, taking it day by day, I would love to start managing more operators and training and coaching and mentoring, which I've gotten tastes of, but obviously I love more roles and responsibilities, love biting off more than I can chew most times. So, really looking forward to that. Getting involved more with the industry has kind of been a focus the last year or two. It's done numbers for my career, for my self-confidence, multiple avenues. It's very hard to, pinpoint exactly one thing from there because there's been a boatload that I've learned just from, like I said, conversation. So, yeah, it's been. One day I hope to be a director of operations or VP or somewhere up in that upper management realm.
Yeah.
Really just focusing on understanding the property management side of things. I feel like I have a very good base of the operation. So, trying to be that well-rounded person that understands both sides of the industry. So, yeah, that's the working goals right now.
All right.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So you just mentioned you're on part of a global engineering task force for Avis and Young, right? Tell me more about that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I still kind of get chills when I talk about it. Being part of a team of very senior and experienced engineers and directors and principals in our company across the states. I believe there's a couple from the UK that join in as well. So it's kind of been good to see, how different things are where they are versus kind of what we do, and then all of the similarities, across the board. That's been great. Looking at it from like a strategic planning lens, it's been kind of cool and a great learning too. Seeing how we can build something and then it's going to have to be deconstructed for US, for Canada, for UK, and kind of, being involved in the rollout, how we're going to, share these documents, how we're going to kind of train the operators and stuff. So yeah, it's been a great learning experience for me. Happy to be a part of it, and truly honored to be a part of it, really. Yeah.
So is that still going on, or is that something?
Kind of streamlining the documents so that way they all kind of match the branding and stuff like that, and then working on the rollout plan now. So if any AY people are listening, keep your ears open. Hopefully 24 it hits.
All right.
Hopefully.
Tell me about the role SOPs take in a building operator's role. Like, how important are the SOPs? How,
I kind of look at SOPs a little bit different than the true definition of an SOP. Usually you get them during construction. You have your controls, you have your heating, like all your systems broken down. Yeah. What I find is that's great in terms of the maintenance of the systems. It gives the operators a good snapshot of the tasks that need to be done. Right. I really focus on making my SOPs for my building very site specific and very Coles Notes version. Click the button in the top right corner. You'll open this window, hit select, right click, drop down. So those kind of steps to, get a task completed. So that way, literally, this is what I say is anybody can pick up my handbook at my building. Right. And do anything in the system, whether that's, adding a new fob, exporting camera footage. It's kind of all broken down into very digestible lines,
Right.
not a 1,000-page document with only 2 pages that you need spread across about 50 pages. So pictures say 1,000 words. So adding pictures and screenshots with areas highlighted, that's kind of how I make my SOPs. So the task force will be great for operators to have a base starting point,
Right.
and then tweaking it and updating it to the site specific will be fun for them.
Going back to the task force, what is sort of the goal of that task force? Is it just total portfolio optimization, or what is?
Yeah, it's kind of we want to standardize it. We didn't have a database of standardized inspections, like a roof inspection. Like I had a sheet. The guy down the road had 3 different sheets. This guy had 4 different sheets. So trying to create some consistency across the board for us was one of the main goals. Having a resource center for our operators to pick and choose from. Some of the greener operators might not know exactly what tasks are required for a pump. They're just checking the suction and discharge and temperatures and then walking away, right? Side stream filter you got to clean, the strainers you got to do, you got to exercise your valves, like the list goes on, right? So kind of having somewhere or a document that operators can go to, kind of type in what they're looking for, and have a plethora of documents to kind of fine comb and show them what to do, or at least guide them a little bit better.
I'm sure that's gonna do wonders on the whole portfolio for Avison Young, right?
I really hope so. So far from what I've seen, it will be that great resource. So excited for that one to launch.
So kind of bridging off of that, tell me about the role that technology plays in the building operator's role, whether it be now or even like what is your outlook on it 5 years from now?
That's the outlook 5 years from now. What was once AAA plus top of the line 5 years later is now okay or good or great. It's not the same. Technology changes very fast. I love it, but I hate it. I don't trust it, not one bit. Just I feel like operators can get too reliant on technology to do their job for them. BAS tells you that it's 100% open, but you have no cooling.
Right.
That might be closed. Might be closed, man. That might be closed, right? Or it might be stuck open or something like that, right? So as much as it is a great tool and resource for operators to kind of streamline things and get snapshots of, how your whole heating system's working and how your whole building is performing that day, it's great. Gathering your data and, using that as baselines, it's great, but still just, I'm a paper kind of guy.
Right.
So as much as I have my digital rounds on my phone, still like to bust out the paper every once in a while and,
Awesome.
fine comb it. Blessing and a curse,
Absolutely.
use it, don't trust it wholeheartedly, but technology can do some great things, right? So might as well, like, just was talking to a building that implemented some HVAC AI, so couldn't tell you how it really works on the inside, but it was something that got my ears open, right? I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense, because, Monday to Friday is kind of the same days of the week. The only thing that changes is the outdoor air and what's going on outside, right? So if you can kind of use that to, improve your building, I might as well go for it, right?
Yeah. I could see that maybe helping in sort of the optimization side of it, right? Like but I guess we'll see where it goes, right?
And that's why, like, it just, as far as I know, the AI just sits and learns, right? From the history that it's given. So, I mean, over the course of time, the more data it has, the better it'll be able to perform. A 14-degree rainy day with southwestern winds. Hey, we had that 6 months ago. We did this, and we found that this pump ran high or this fan was on too long. Let's try this now, right? So, and doesn't take an operator to sit there and fine comb all that data to be like, okay, what should we do, or come up with a game plan, and maybe that game plan kind of backfires or X, Y, Z, right? So kind of having that extra tool to, guide the operators. It's interesting time in our industry.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Hopefully it makes the space a little bit easier for you guys, right?
Yeah,
the
just
job's hard enough as it is.
just another system or platform for us to learn and understand and figure out how to run, right? So
keeps you on your toes.
Keeps you on your toes, man. Like I said, there's always something new, right? So, it plays a huge part, and I think that's kind of why we've, as an industry, we've been able to make some of the leadway we have is due to technology and systems constantly changing and upgrading and becoming more efficient. So, yeah.
But I guess a good building walkthrough is not going away anytime soon.
No way, buddy. No way. And my clipboard sits on my desk. I mean, I don't know what it is about writing, man, but it hits so much more for me. I'll probably be able to remember more. I capture more. It just
feels good.
Yeah, and brings that old school element to it too, right? So, I mean, I still do the paper round, and then I sit down at my desk and I plug all that information into my electronic one. But just going old school sometimes never hurts. It won't go away in my career. That's it. That's it.
Tell me, how are high performance sustainable buildings changing the landscape? I've seen that's going on everywhere. You mentioned you're going to, where was it you're going to today?
I'll be going to the Fairmont Royal York today. So they're undergoing a big net zero plan, I think. So major renovations while keeping things still open. In terms of high performance sustainable buildings, I think that's going to be the new standard. Right. You just look at it from a tenant engagement standpoint too, and if your building is not LEED certified, if your building's not BOMA Best, if your building doesn't have the certificates and the awards or the top-notch energy efficient systems, it's going to struggle to lease in this environment. In these times right now, companies have their own ESG goals. Your office space is tied to their ESG goals as well as your company's ESG goals. So, companies are looking for those high performance sustainable buildings rather than, just kind of finding space.
Absolutely.
I think the B and C class buildings, a lot of people say that they're really going to struggle. I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I think you can do some really cool projects and think outside of the box a lot more on those assets rather than, a new building that was put up 2 or 3 years ago. It's going to be a hard capital sell on those ones. But those B and C class buildings, I mean, if the owners are willing to invest, can be outstanding buildings and run with those brand new buildings that were made yesterday. Prime example would be the Fairmont. We'll chat about the systems later. I don't know too much there, but absolutely. I mean, just, updating the old, but some of those old systems are probably still original and probably don't even have a problem wrong with them, right? So trying to, get all your ducks in a row and do something cool would be pretty fun to see for this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
So you mentioned B and C class buildings. They're having some, there's some cool transitions that could go on there, right? I hear a lot of chatter about, maybe converting B and C class office buildings to residential or, all sorts of different, everybody's talking, right? What do you see happening in this space? You're in it day to day, right?
It's give and take. Read a few things that it really depends on floor plate size for those B and C class. I mean, it would be great to just, help this housing crisis, and pop some buildings into that. But the work from home hybrid approach is kind of slowing down a little bit more. Some companies have really adopted the full hybrid mentality, where others are slowly working their way towards a 5-day work week. Right. So I see the office kind of coming back.
Okay.
So if I was a B and C class owner, I would I would upgrade to still stay a building, not go residential.
Absolutely.
But I mean, to each his own, and I don't own those asset classes right now, so I mean, it's just what I think.
So I didn't even ask you what sort of building do you take care of right now?
Oh, I'm in a commercial office building.
Okay.
About 160,000 square feet, and I've got a couple other office buildings. But yeah, majority of my portfolio throughout my career has been office, commercial office. I've had some industrial, some retail. They don't have a lot in terms of maintenance, and the days there were a lot more similar than they are now at a commercial office. So would love to just stay in commercial office. Yeah.
So what drew you to commercial? I guess it's not sort of every day is different kind of approach, or?
To be honest with you, I had gone to school for business marketing for 4 years in college. Couldn't find a job, landscape, snow plowed for a bit. Landed my first mobile role and took the BES courses. But what I was seeing in the courses and textbooks, I was seeing on site, but not those exact same systems. I was dealing with rooftop units, but I was learning about chillers. There's a condenser, there's a compressor in there. So there is a little coolant, there's a coil, it's there in a miniature size, right? So just kind of what was in the textbook I wanted to see, and then that's kind of when the lights went off, when I got to that building that had a chiller and boilers, and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense now,
It's a little more interesting.
Yeah, I was able to, take that picture from the textbook and drop it in my mechanical room and be like, oh, okay, here's this pipe and that pipe and this way and that way, right? So
what do you do for fun? How do you wind down at the end of the day? What,
It's my kids.
Yeah.
That's my fun. That's where I have my most fun. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, I will be getting back into music. Like making music. It was fun, little cool, creative way for me to have some fun. I love listening to music. So I'll probably get back into some music, slowly get back into some sports, maybe play some soccer here and there. But really, I mean, by the time I put the kids down, clean up the dishes, make the dinner, we got like an hour. I feel like a geezer, man. I'm mid-30s, but a 9 p.m. bedtime just, makes my eyes light up. I'm just gearing up for a 9 p.m. bedtime every night.
Absolutely.
But yeah, hanging out with the friends and their kids too. It's great to build some of those core memories. So
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. You watch anything on Netflix? Any shows you've been watching recently?
To be honest with you, I don't even. I shouldn't even say this, man. But I've been tuning in, sitting right beside my wife, watching these reality shows, man.
Oh, yeah?
Honestly, it is gold. It is gold. From Vanderpump Rules to Love Is Blind to we just started one Palm Royale. Those reality shows are just a summer house. The drama on them is just hilarious. I know it's all scripted, but it's just like that mindless TV watch, right? So yeah, no, those are
wind down.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but yeah, man, she's got me hooked on those. Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of what other show I kind of finished recently, but Is It Cake?
Oh yeah, good, I know that one.
Good times there, right? So yeah, I mean, with all the streaming platforms now, it's kind of just see what else is out there, find a new show, fire it up, realize that we didn't finish the other season of that show, so we fired that up before we started the new season. Right? Yeah, a couple of them we went back to episode 1 and started watching. Love me some Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Superstore. You got to have some good laughs, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love me a good plot on a movie, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you can make me laugh, I'm more than happy with that.
Great. So I guess we'll sort of wrap up here, but you have anything you want to say to the audience? Anything you want to say to the building operators out there? Anything you want to share or present?
Just keep going. There's going to be times where you kind of feel like that bottom person at the bottom of the bucket, never seeing the light of day, but It will get better. Raise your hand, ask questions. Don't be afraid to take on more roles and responsibilities. Get yourself educated, whether you've been in it 20 years or you're fresh out of the BES program and have 0 years experience. I think education is key. You can always use a refresher. You can always learn something new. You might not have been able to understand it or grasp that concept before, but looking at it now, a couple lights might go off. So yeah, just don't stop.
Great. That's incredible, Paolo. Yeah. It's been great having you on. It's a pleasure. And thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Thank you.